Okay, today we are giving you our top 24 rankings
Come on, baby.
in Dynasty Superflex formats, and we're breaking them down into 6 tiers. It's going to be difficult, but I think this is a good exercise. Do us a favor, drop a like to show some support. Subscribe if you like Dynasty content.
That's right, baby.
And I want you to comment down below as we're going through this video and say, this player needs to be in your top 24. Where is he? And then we'll maybe have some replies in the comments for you.
Exactly.
Hey, we're going to be talking about our rankings today. Badake and I are going to be going back and forth. In my rankings, I have this player here. If you want to see our rankings compared side by side, along with some other great content creators in the industry, Mason Dodd from Flock, the guys from Fantasy Stock Exchange and Fantasy Endgame, then go ahead and check the pinned comment, flockfantasy.com/land, LAND. That is a promo code you want to use for 30% off, as well as some exclusives from us. Check that in the pinned comment below. But let's go ahead and get to the video here, Badake.
Oh boy, here we go.
We're doing something different today. We're not going tier by tier. We're going player by player.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting. I don't know how long this is going to take, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So the first player we are talking about today is Chris Olave. And let's just explain the tiers, okay?
Yes.
Any player that's in any tier is a pillar for Dynasty right now, okay?
100%.
So if you're a late second player, you're still a top 24 pick in a Dynasty startup draft. You're still a second round pick. So don't think that someone in the last tier is just a bad player. That's not at all what we're doing here. That's not the purpose of this exercise. We are going from early first to mid first to late first to early second to mid second and late second in a Dynasty Superflex value wise. So Chris Olave, Badake, as weird as it sounds, I have Chris Olave in my late second tier. A wide receiver that I'm probably at the end of the second round considering taking around the 212, maybe around the 301, 303 in that kind of category. Where do you have him though?
Yeah, I do have him in late second as well. He's actually my last wide receiver in this tier. Did pretty good last year. Finished wide receiver 25. Now he's going with Derek Carr. Had a quarterback carousel over there in New Orleans. Should have a little bit more solidified, I guess a more solidified and more consistent quarterback in play as well. So maybe he does move up in rankings, or maybe this is the sweet spot for Chris Olave.
Yeah, okay, I'm glad that at minimum we have him here. And you guys can see where we have each of these players individually ranked, again, over at flockfantasy.com.
That's right.
Okay, so on to the next player here I have is CJ Stroud. Again, it's a super flex format. Some people might not believe in these quarterbacks like both you and I. I know we're kind of on the same page here, but I have CJ Stroud in my early second tier. I feel like at the turn, right, where that 201 to 203 is, that's kind of where I envision a player like CJ Stroud going. You as well, I assume, because I think we're on the same page with these quarterbacks.
Yeah, we're on the same page here with CJ. That's just a sweet spot there. I think right before the Dax and all these other quarterbacks, you probably want to go for one as CJ or potentially a Bryce Young once we get to them.
Yeah, kind of betting on what these quarterbacks can be versus what you know about a player.
Exactly.
Okay, the next player, which you just talked about, is Dak Prescott, and I personally have him right there in my mid-second tier. Again, I'm probably going those quarterbacks over him. Like, it's so close from the 203, but I'm more like 204, 205, 206 range with Dak Prescott personally.
Yeah, 206 for me for Dak Prescott feels really comfortable. That's exactly where I have him in my mid-second tier as well. So, we're hitting the nail on the head right now. We're even keel. Even keel.
All right, this might get interesting here with Kyler Murray, but I think we actually have him ranked very similarly.
We do.
I would say at the back end of the first, around the 112, that's where I'm probably taking a shot on Kyler Murray. You can make a case for him in the early second, but at this moment, right now, that's where I'm considering drafting him.
Yeah, early second, I have him in this tier as well. You know, a lot of people are questioning Kyler Murray with this injury, this ACL. He's probably going to be out for half of the year. But remember, this is Dynasty. You draft for the longevity of your team. What's Kyler Murray? 25, 26 years old. He just got a contract extension. He will be the quarterback for your future Dynasty team for the next at least 4 years. So early second.
Some people out there have some crazy rumors that the Cardinals are going to tank for Caleb Williams. And the difference between when they replaced Josh Rosen with Kyler Murray is that Josh Rosen was dog shit, let's be honest. And they didn't sign Josh Rosen to a huge contract. I think his role is secure moving forward. But there's a lot of Kyler Murray haters out there. I'm glad we're putting some respect on his name.
By the way,
all right, let me ask you.
I just
Okay.
saw, because I was looking at my list and then saw what where you put him. I actually have him in my early second. He's my 201.
He's your 201.
It's just the edge. That's all it is. So what's the difference between the 112 and the 201, right?
Yeah,
So,
we're getting very technical here in these tiers, which is fun. I think it's fun to kind of break it down that way.
Yeah.
Well, let's have a conversation later then, because I would have him in my late first, but Kyler Murray, I guess, is someone we'll have to have a conversation about. I'll leave him there for now. Let me ask you, where do you have Patrick Mahomes ranked?
Late second.
Late second right here, right around Chris Olave?
Yeah, right around there.
Similarly valued?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's put him up here in the early first. My quarterback one for like 5 years now has been Patrick Mahomes. 5 years might be an exaggeration. Like 3 years, he's been my quarterback one.
Once he stepped onto the field,
changed.
QB1.
Yeah. Literally that rookie season in Dynasty, I was like, okay, you're QB1. There's no reason to bet you, and I felt that way since. Okay, I'm assuming you have him there as well.
I mean, we don't have to spend much time on Patrick Mahomes early first.
All right, this was a difficult one because I feel like he is going late first, sometimes mid first. I'm not gonna argue regardless of where you have him, but where do you have Lamar Jackson?
I have him in my mid first. He's my last
mid first.
Last person in this tier. Look, you're right. We're not gonna argue. It really just depends on how you're feeling about the free agency market or the market with Lamar right now and him having all these question marks signing with the team. I think he still deserves to be here in mid first, whatever that is. Was that the 107, 108? I think that's perfect.
It's like that
sweet
edge
spot.
of like, is that a mid or a late first? So we can leave him there at the end. All right, how about another quarterback in Deshaun Watson? Where do you have Deshaun Watson ranked, Badake? I feel like it's very close to Kyler Murray for me. I have him late first. What about you?
Yeah, I have him late first right there as well. Comfortable with Deshaun Watson being there.
Okay, great. And a player that did not have a very good year last year.
No.
Why do we think that would have happened? All the, media that was happening, external factors, and guess what? You don't get to actually be with your team and prep for the entire year, and then we're going to throw you in. Well, it's, of course, he's going to have a better year now that he's got an entire year to recover. All right, we have our first rookie. Let me ask you, where do you have Bijan Robinson ranked?
Yeah, he's in my late first. He's my 112 right now in a Dynasty startup.
Okay.
That's where I would currently have him. And once again, pick your poison, whether that's Bijan or the Kyler on the edge there.
That's what I was about to say. Like we have that flopped around one spot. I have Bijan here as my early second and Kyler Murray as my last late first. So I don't know what to do.
It's really, once again, not that big of a deal, because if we're really breaking this down, like we said, 112, 102, all the same person, right? The same person is drafting them. It really doesn't matter who goes first or who goes last.
I would just say, though, as much as I love Bijan Robinson in a super flex format, I still think you lean Kyler Murray. I don't know.
I get what you're saying.
I'm going to just go ahead and put Kyler Murray right ahead of Bijan, and we'll have that conversation later and see what we need to change.
Yeah.
Keep them in the same tier, though.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
All right, Justin Fields. I know it's crazy, but at this point, okay, hold on. First off, I have him right ahead of Lamar Jackson. I know you probably have him in this tier. I want you and I just give ourselves a little round of applause right now, okay? You and I right now.
Talk it up. One opportunity.
Little self-praise here for us. Yeah,
something special.
Probably shouldn't be doing it. Who cares? We were the only ones, I feel, on YouTube telling you guys to buy Justin Fields, all last offseason. People are like, stop. Why are these guys? These guys are stupid. They're telling you to buy Justin Fields. Sell Justin Fields. We're getting him in like the early third round of Superflex startups, and we're like feeling like absolute kings about it. So now DJ Moore comes in. I love the moves that they're making, and the draft is only going to make this team even better. I have officially moved Fields one spot ahead of Lamar Jackson. I am projecting what Fields will do as they build around him. That's where I have him. Do you have Lamar ahead of Fields, or how are you feeling now?
I still currently have Lamar ahead of Fields. Actually, let me just triple check that.
Okay.
On this list here, I do have him ahead of Fields, but I also want to double check that also reflects in my rankings. I do
Okay.
have Lamar ahead of Justin Fields. Yes. So
Where would you put Fields then?
Fields is in my mid tier as well. Sorry, he's in my late first tier. He's my first guy in my late first tier.
Oh, okay.
Once again,
All right.
very minuscule things, right?
Sure.
107, 108. What really is the gap there? But I personally would agree. We can keep him in the mid first.
I'm going to go ahead and advocate for Lamar for
Mhm.
Justin Fields to be right there at mid first. And to meet you in the middle, I'm going to drop Kyler Murray down to the second tier.
Sure. And
Just to meet you in the middle, because I care much more about putting respect on Justin Fields' name there.
That's exactly
and
what I was going to say.
kind of pushing my ahead of Lamar Jackson narrative. So
Yeah, I love that. I love that narrative. And like you said, we're both big Justin Fields believers. And what they're doing right now is just going to continue to get even better. I mean, they signed 2 freaking linebackers just for the defense. But anyways, crazy.
All right, the next player we have here is another quarterback, and that is Justin Herbert. Now, I think you could put him in early first. I'm going to put him mid first because right now I feel like early first, I'm only going to reserve for like that select top 3 in my rankings. So that's why I have him right there, like the 104, 105 territory.
Yeah, I'm there right with you. I have him as my 105 currently, Justin Herbert. So this feels comfortable. I'm really happy with this mid first tier.
Okay, next we're going to talk about a wide receiver. There's only one on the board right now, oddly enough, and that is Chris Olave. Let's talk about his teammate, Garrett Wilson. I personally have him as a late second round pick, okay? And he's more of a 208 than he is a 212 in my rankings, but I still do have him as a late second. I'm not taking him in the mid second over guys like Dak Prescott or some of these other talents that we'll talk about in a second, but where do you have Garrett Wilson here? I've always advocated him and Olave should be in the same tier. I wonder where you have him here.
Yeah, and once again, this is the difference for me. He's my mid second, so my 208, 209 here.
That's not mid though. That would be late.
You're right. That would be late, but I guess maybe that's where I was trying to advocate him for to go to that mid area.
So are we staying true to the rankings?
I know
or do we just want to bump him?
We are staying true to the rankings. He is. Let me just double check. Let me triple check. He's currently my wide receiver 20.
No, not your wide receiver 20. No way.
Sorry, my 20th ranked Superflex player.
Okay.
Right. So
yeah, that's got to put him late second. 20th would be.
You're right. It would put him late second.
That would be 208.
208.
I mean, I feel like that's more late than mid.
I would agree there, and maybe that was a mistake by me. So I'm happy to put him in the late second there. Then
I'm honestly just bulldozing my way through. Why don't we just leave him there for now?
I agree. It's a mental mistake.
Okay.
And I was saying I see him more being in the mid second, and especially with everything that's going to change with all the rumors with Aaron Rodgers coming in, I definitely see him taking the jump into the mids, maybe the 206, the 205 if people really want to stretch it out. So, hey, I do have him as my 20th rank. Go with the rankings. Okay. That would put him at the 208, 209.
Which I guess you can make the case mid or late, right? But, okay, we'll be on the same page there. One thing we didn't mention, which we probably should have, is we try to keep this list to 24 players only. Yeah. And there could have been a lot of big names that you might think should be here. And that end of the second round is very up for debate on where you rank players. Exactly. So keep that in mind as we go. And you can comment down below and say who you think should be in there. A player, so let's be honest, with that late second, I think this is where I extended the list a little bit beyond our top 24. Just because I wanted to give guys that you could consider in that late second range. And one of those guys for me was Travis Etienne. I do have him right behind Olave. I think you can make the case for him ahead of Olave. So I wanted to put him right there at the end. He's just outside of that top 24 for me, but I wanted to at least put him in that conversation.
And I would agree, that's the window of the 210, maybe to the 303, right? And that's the sweet spot. And those guys kind of flip-flop every single time. You see JT fall, you see Kenneth Walker rise, you see Chris Olave go in the late second, or he goes into the early third. So I do have him in my late second tier as well. I actually have him ahead of Chris Olave. So that will probably be the difference for the both of us.
Sure. Well, since you met me in the middle with Garrett Wilson, I'll meet you in the middle and put Etienne there. Again, if you want to find our individual rankings, flockfantasy.com, shameless plug, /land, flockfantasy.com
Love it.
/land. Okay, AJ Brown. Where do you have AJ Brown here, Badake?
It's okay. I would have him in the mid tier, mid second. That's
okay,
where
same. I like that.
That's what feels very comfortable here. I guess 205, 206. And I think that's kind of where I envision Garrett Wilson being, especially with all the rumors. But yeah, AJ Brown, I mean, what did he do last year? Had a phenomenal year last year.
What didn't he do last year?
Exactly. What didn't he do last year? Finished wide receiver 6. I think he finishes his top 10 again this year. So it feels really comfortable having him in the mid-second.
I'm really happy with that. All right, Josh Allen, where do you got this guy?
In the middle somewhere, maybe. Yeah.
Right behind CJ Stroud?
Yeah, I mean, CJ is
Just
clearly
projecting CJ?
Yeah, clearly the better prospect there for CJ. I mean, what an opportunity. The one-on-one.
This is one player along with 3 that I have in my early first tier. So let's put him up there. I know you have him there too.
Yeah.
Ken Walker. Where do we have Ken Walker?
Ooh, Ken the real estate agent. He's my late second tier.
Same.
I guess I would
actually have him right above Travis, right below Garrett.
I have him in the middle between those two guys as well.
Perfect. No need to waste any time on that. We like Ken Walker.
Mm-hmm.
I think he absolutely established himself as a workhorse running back in this league, and
Agreed.
Seattle was a much better team than we thought they would be. All right, how about Sunshine Trevor Lawrence? Where do you have Trevor Lawrence ranked?
With the hair just glistening in the wind there. Mid-first for me. He's my 106. No, 106 right now for me, which is really exciting. He's one spot ahead of Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
So, I mean, what a phenomenal year by Trevor Lawrence as well. And his team gets better with Calvin Ridley. Finished quarterback 8 this past year.
Don't even say Calvin's name because I'm going to get too excited.
I know you like him, man. That's your guy.
Okay, so I'm. This is exactly where I have him too. I cannot wait for this offense to come together. Ingram, Ridley, Kirk, Zay Jones is your wide receiver 3 now. Etienne hasn't even been fully unleashed. It's
gonna be wild. It's gonna be wild.
All right, Amon-Ra St. Brown was one of those wide receivers for me who, again, did not make my top 24, but just barely outside of that. You could, if you like Amon-Ra more than Olave, I think you can make a case for that. Okay, fair enough. More power to you. I think that's exactly where I have him, right in that late second, early third range. So I wanted to at least put some respect on his name.
Yeah, completely agree. He's actually ahead of Travis Etienne and Chris Olave for me. It's Amon-Ra, Travis Etienne, Chris Olave in that order.
I'll meet you in the middle there. Then.
Yeah, just outside of that top 24. Because I think I have one person that may not be in your top 24, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's see.
Okay. Next, we have another wide receiver out of Dallas, C.D. Lamb.
C.D.
In my rankings, I would have him right below. I would actually have him right below Bijan because remember, I have Bijan where Kyler Murray is. I would have those two swapped.
Yeah.
But this is where I would place him right after Kyler Murray. Probably still taking C.D. Lamb ahead of C.J. Stroud and some of these, quarterbacks from this class. I mean, those people who did not think he was an alpha, I think we can all agree now that you guys were wrong. And we've been wrong on things before. I'm not calling people out, but he's proven to be a dominant wide receiver for fantasy purposes. So I would have him here.
Yeah, completely agree. He's my 202 in a dynasty startup. It's Bijan, Kyler Murray, then CeeDee Lamb for me. So it feels really comfortable putting him there.
For me, it would be Kyler, Bijan, and then CD. But I agree. Like CD, Bijan, very similar value with the 101 there.
Yeah.
All right, Breece Hall. Where do you have Breece Lightning then?
Brother Breece. He's my mid-second currently right now.
Love it.
In between Dak Prescott, Jalen Waddle. Once again, you kind of pick your poison here. I know a lot of people may not draft him as high, or maybe he falls, right, with that ACL injury. But I think a 207 for me right now feels really comfortable for Breece. I think you can kind of pick your poison on getting a wide receiver, taking one of these wide receiver over Breece Hall if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I have it actually as Dak, Waddle, since we're talking about him, AJ Brown, and Breece in that order. What would your order be?
Mine will be Dak, Breece, Waddle. Or you need AJ Brown,
Waddle,
sorry.
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. So my mid-second is AJ Brown, Dak, Breece, and then Waddle.
Okay.
That's what it will
So you have
be.
Waddle at the end.
Yeah, I have
All
Waddle
right, we
at
can leave it like that. That's fine. I would see it a little different, but that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Jamar Chase. Where would you be drafting Jamar Chase? What territory are we looking here?
Late first, which I guess kind of corresponds with the Garrett Wilson, 108, 109 area. Feels really comfortable for me.
Okay, what do you mean Garrett Wilson there?
I guess I was just trying to say late first, like it makes sense now thinking about Garrett Wilson being in the late first when I said he was the 209, 208.
Oh, okay. Okay, just connecting the dots. Okay. Yeah. Jonathan Taylor, I personally, and maybe this is an oversight for me, but what I did for this exercise is I drafted a Superflex draft every pick, and he would have been the first in my late second tier. Don't want to disrespect him, but I am still taking Breece Hall over him, and I am still taking Bijan Robinson over him. And you know how we draft. We've always been wide receivers, build your team around wide receivers, and then in the next couple of years, you can try and get some running backs. And I think that was a very good strategy for everyone in Dynasty this last year, and it's probably how we would operate this year as well.
Yeah, completely agree. I have him right behind Garrett. I actually have Garrett Wilson ahead of Jonathan Taylor in my late second tier. So once again, pick your poison in your running back or wide receiver. These are foundational guys that are going to help you win your dynasty leagues, at least in our opinion, right? Top 24 guys. So JT feels comfortable there for me.
Okay, I have Justin Jefferson right ahead of Jamar Chase. I know you have Jamar Chase right ahead of Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
Pick your poison with these two guys. They're in a tier of their own for wide receivers. I prefer Justin Jefferson. You prefer Jamar Chase, and that's okay. How about Jalen Hurts? Where do you have Jalen Hurts ranked?
Jalen Hurts, my first quarterback in my mid-first tier.
Okay.
He's currently he's my 104.
Okay.
Right. I mean, I guess that there's a gray area there that could either be early or mid, but I guess for this sake, 104 is the mid first.
And there's going to be people who are saying he should be in early first. I actually have, if we were consensus 104, maybe we can move Hurts up. I still have Herbert as my 104, one spot ahead of Hurts.
That's fair.
I understand, guys. I understand.
Yeah.
We have a slight disagreement there. So that's where if we were all on the same page, maybe we could bump him to first, but we're both happy with that. And
Agreed.
We'll leave him there. Okay. So next, let's talk about Bryce Young. Where do you have Bryce Young ranked? I have him right next to CJ Stroud. He's right ahead of Stroud for me, but pick your poison here. I think most people are actually with you now, Badake. They are Team CJ. It feels like the community has shifted a little bit more towards CJ as the QB1 right now in the 23 class.
Hey, and I'm glad I was on the train way before everyone, but welcome. It feels really good over here in the breeze at the 101 in the first spot, the first train on the train, the first car on the train. So it's really exciting.
First train on the train.
First train on the train, first car on the train. But yes, hey, like Zach said, pick your poison, CJ or Bryce. Just feels like the Panthers are going to take CJ right now, but we could get surprised. We're hearing rumors about A-Rich right now, potentially going 101.
Come on. I still have Bryce ahead of CJ. I just want to be very clear. If there's anyone out there with me who is still Team Bryce, I feel like there is nothing that happened at the Combine that would make me change my mind and put CJ over Bryce. So if anyone out there is still with me, again, my 1A, to my 1B, and CJ Stroud. But we'll go ahead and give you CJ over Bryce. It's not going to make a difference in this exercise.
No.
All right, the last player we're going to talk about is Joe Burrow. I would say he is one of those three top consensus guys. I remember making a video back when you were in New York. You were in Brooklyn visiting. What was that, November?
Yeah, November, Thanksgiving time.
And I remember that was the first time in my rankings I had moved Joe Burrow ahead of Justin Herbert as my 103, the third quarterback in my rankings. And it was received with some pushback.
Right.
Some people did not believe that I should be putting Justin Herbert below Joe Burrow. But I think today, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think we probably all be on the same page to say, okay, Joe Burrow looks like he is one of those dudes that you rarely find in the NFL as well as in fantasy football. He's got an incredible team around him that he's going to continue to grow with Jamar Chase, with T. Higgins, whoever they maybe draft at running back. So I think I would say we're all on the same page now with Joe Burrow being a top 3 consensus pick, unless people are, Hurts over Burrow. But where do you stand there?
And I'm there with you. I have Joe Burrow in that first tier. And what I would say and I think I guess I'm kind of advocating for Jalen Hurts in the way.
Yeah.
It's just because of the rushing upside. He has that upside and that difference compared to Joe Burrow. Or that's what sets them apart, right? The rushing upside for Jalen Hurts. But Joe Burrow, I think you're right, does put himself in that upper echelons with Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and kind of setting himself apart. I think if Jalen Hurts does it, I would say if he does it again next year, I think if we were to do this video a year from now and he does have a similar year, I can easily see him being like, 4 quarterbacks going into that top early first tier, and you kind of pick your poison on there.
And, Jalen Hurts does have great weapons around him, right?
Exactly.
With Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, good offensive line. So I can see where people are coming from.
Exactly.
Maybe he should be in this tier 4. But again, we're not consensus there. I would still have Herbert slightly ahead. So let us know in the comments below what you guys think. Now, there's some names that we could have added in this late second tier.
I have T in my late second tier, by the way.
I do too, but I'm just saying we're trying to keep it
minimum.
We're trying to keep it somewhat reasonable. We're already over by 2 players, so I would have T. Higgins there. So would you. I would have Jackson Smith and Jigba and Kyle Pitts as well if we were just to add people to the end of this tier.
Yeah.
I think you would have Quentin Johnson. I don't have him there, but I think you would have Quentin.
I would.
And so just to be clear, but all right, guys, a little bit different today. Yeah. I really want feedback from you guys in the comments on what you thought about this format. What did you think about going player by player and instead of going tier by tier? Would really love to know your thoughts. Do us a favor, drop a like to show some support. Subscribe if you like Dynasty content, and we will see you guys in the next video. All love. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, L-A-N-D, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy. Even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.